Hey everyone, and welcome to 2021. My name is Lily, and I'm the book blogger behind Utopia State of Mind, and today I'm going to be sharing with you my bookish resolutions for 2021. So I guess if I had to think about how I would thematically title my bookish resolutions for this year, it would definitely be to mentally prioritize my self-care and my mental health instead of reading. I haven't filmed my 2020 wrap-up yet, but as kind of little preview and backstory, I read 357 books in 2020, and I really could feel it. So 2020, I think, for people was a year where everyone maybe was either in kind of I can't really focus on reading kind of mood, or I'm using reading to escape the world kind of mood. And that was for me kind of where I was. In general, 357 books isn't the most I've read in a year, actually. I think last year I read 361, or 2019 I read 361, I think, and then 2019, and then 2018 I think I read 390 books. So it's not like the biggest, but in general I felt so burnt out from reading all of those stories. But also, it's not only burnt out from reading, but it's burnt out from this hustle and this productivity kind of push to be as productive as possible, and read as many books as possible and review as many books as possible. I've been blogging now for over 4 years. It'll be 5 years this year. And in that time, I think I've posted a 1,700 and I think 7 blog posts, and I think 1,000 of them, or maybe 1,200, I think, actually, are book reviews, right? That is a wild amount of number. And if you think about the fact that in the last 3 years, I've read over 300 books, over 350 books every year for the last 3 years, that is over 1,000 books in the last couple years. And I feel like I've been falling into this mental space where I'm I need to be as productive as possible. I need to read as many books as possible. And that has really made me have an unhealthy relationship with reading and with that kind of productivity. So for 2021, it's not only that I want to kind of change how I feel about reading, and get it into a more healthy kind of relationship with reading, but also the end of 2020 was incredibly hard for me and for my family, and 2021 so far, even in the last week of 2021, is not looking any better. And so it's not only that I need to have a more healthy relationship with reading, but also in 2021 I need to prepare myself mentally that I will not be able to get as much done, and that has to be okay with me. And it's been really hard, right? So I'm going to go into a little bit of my goals for 2021, and then I kind of can talk a little bit about how it's been so far for me in 2021. My first goal, I mentioned in my January TBR, is to reduce the amount of books on my TBR. So in January I only have, I think, 10 books, and I'm going to keep it at that, with the firm and squishy TBR, keeping in mind that mental prioritization. So knowing that I have my firm TBR, which I'm going to kind of stick to, and then my squishy TBR. And I will get back to that afterwards when I talk to you about how my week in 2021 has gone so far. And then the second one is to stick to a strict 2-post limit. So on my blog, I post Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and I have, I think, all last year posted at least 2 posts every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then sometimes more. So sometimes I'll get the approval for an e-arc really late, and then I'll be I have to read this book, and then I have to put the review in beforehand, and that kind of just snowballs. So this year I'm going to stick to a strict 2 posts per limit, unless there's something special that kind of pops up, like a cover reveal, which has already happened this year. I did a cover reveal for The Splendor, but I want to keep to that, so that it means that I'm realizing that if a review doesn't get out until a couple weeks after release date, that's just kind of how it has to be. I can't keep on pushing forward, because then it means that I'm spending more time scheduling posts, and also then when I get past that point where I'm running out of posts, then I feel that pressure, and I feel that pressure of like, will I run out of posts? As of now, I have posts till like the middle of February. So, I mean, it's not that, it's like I'm not worried about that at this point. And it has a little bit of a buffer zone in case something happens in my personal life. But it's kind of that mental knowing that like I need to have limits and I need to stick to them, and I need to be better at holding myself accountable to sticking to those limits. Number 3 is request less e-arcs. I think it's very self-explanatory. I need to request less e-arcs. Like I want to in 2021 have less of an emphasis on e-arcs and more of an emphasis on backlist books, and also like mood reading. I've never mood read in the whole time I've been doing book blogging. Well, maybe actually the first year, and I think I only read like 82 books. But even then, I've never been like a mood reader in my whole blogging career, right? Like I've had the e-arcs and I've kept to a strict schedule, and I've done that. And with the Firm and Squishy TBR, that's kind of my idea, to bring in books where I'm just like, oh, I kind of want to read this book or this book from the squishy side. But even that is a little bit more organized than I know a lot of mood readers have. So in general, requesting less e-arcs is a big goal for me. In 2020, half of the books that I read out of 357 were e-arcs. If that gives you like a little bit of perspective, as I said, I will delve all into like the stats and everything in my 2020 wrap up, but to give you kind of like a little perspective for why that's a bookish 2021 resolution, that's why. And so yeah, I just want to feel a little bit more flexible about what I want to read when I want to read it. Like I don't want to, obviously I want to honor the commitments I've made with blog tours or publishers, for example, but I want to also realize that if I'm not feeling a book, I can put it down, because, you know, maybe you're not in the mental headspace for it, and you can just put it down and come back to it. And that's how I have to keep like thinking, that is how I'm going to be the best book blogger, like book reviewer version of myself. If I give myself this space, then I won't feel so much pressure about Goodreads star review ratings, and I won't feel so much pressure about like, oh, I have to read every day, I have to do this, because even in 2021, I felt so guilty about days where I'm like not reading the correct book that I planned out, and I need to kind of work on letting that go, and, you know, realizing that I deserve a break, and like I'm a human. And I guess that saying where, you know, like, would you say the things that you're saying to yourself to, you know, your best friend? That's kind of what I need to do more of in 2021. Like, stop being as mean to myself as I, you know, would lecture to my best friend, essentially. And number 4, I'm not gonna set a reading challenge for this year. I mean, every year I've set reading challenges, and I've always made them. Like, I've always completed them. I think last year my reading challenge was 200 books, and I obviously completed that. But for me, book reading challenges just like don't give me anything, really. I think it's satisfying when you fulfill them, but for me, I've always fulfilled them like halfway through the year. Or for me as a person, they just aren't really working, and I'm just not gonna set one at all. And then number 5, I still am gonna do some reading challenges, but they're going to be all kind of like backlist based. So a few of my reading challenges that I'm going to be doing is I want to read a lot of backlist authors about books I've always wanted to read. So in 2020, I started reading a lot more of Octavia Butler's backlist books. I love Octavia Butler. My favorite books have to be the Xenogenesis trilogy and Kindred, but I want to read like the rest of the backlist ones, and so it's basically just like the Wild Sea kind of series that I have to read. I want to read that. I want to read more of Toni Morrison's backlist and more of N.K. Jemisin's backlist. So N.K. Jemisin before the 5th Season trilogy, which is one of my like all-time favorite fantasy trilogies, wrote another series of books, and I want to read those. And I haven't like actually written down every title of the books. I found that Storygraph, which I haven't done a lot of work or looking into Storygraph, but I found that Storygraph is really good about having an easy way to like keep track of those challenges. And then The other challenge I want to do is the Shimmering Skies challenge. I actually don't remember all the pros or all the prompts, so I'll put that in the description box below. But it's prompts about reading diverse science fiction and fantasy. I'm going to try to prioritize science fiction ones just because I really want to read more science fiction in 2021. And also the Shimmering Skies challenge is to focus on diverse science fiction and fantasy. So I'm going to be trying to read more science fiction and also more diverse science fiction. In 2021, I'm also going to try to be reading over 50% diverse books, and specifically over 50% people of color, so Black, Indigenous, and people of color authored and character books. I did okay on 2020, but in general, I needed to read a lot more Indigenous and Latinx authors, so I definitely want to blow through like the amount that I read in 2020 and keep going even more. And I also want to read over 25% queer reads, like in general. My goal for the months are always 33%, so about roughly a third, and I'm going to keep that goal. Another fun thing I wanted to do in 2021 was that 12 friends recommend me 12 books. And so I don't actually have all the titles of the books yet, but the first one that I do have is from Dana, and Dana recommended The Pursuit Of by Courtney Milan, and I have been wanting to read a lot more romance books in 2021 just because they're like really soothing to my heart and soul. So I've actually already finished this book. Like it's more of a, I think it's actually a novella slash, I think it's a novella prequel to a different series from Courtney Milan. But I really loved it, and I will do like a better review when I've kind of collected my thoughts. But I've already, I guess, finished one of 12. And as I said, I don't have the list of all of the 12 books that people have recommended yet. I am working on it, but when I do, I will make sure to let you all know. So I guess just to give you also an update on like how 2021 for me has been so far reading wise. I love how I made that January TBR video and then like have not really read any of the books on that yet. I have read a few different books. I read like a graphic novel already. I read The Pursuit Of. I read another, I think I read another romance. Oh, I read like a middle grade as well. I read actually The Comeback, which in my most disappointing reads book, I was talking to you all about wanting more own voices and more like diverse figure skating books, and I read The Comeback, which is an own voice diverse figure skating book. So I feel really proud actually about that. But it was not on my TBR. So that's what I'm kind of saying. Like I felt really guilty about that, but that's kind of a reset I needed to do, and I wanted to just pick up in 2021 like any book that I really felt like reading, and those were kind of just the ones that I did. Also the ones where my library hold was delivered, so that's also like kind of why that happened. Anyway, that is brings me to the end of my 2021 bookish resolutions. I'm sorry if I said 2020 by accident in this video. It's not even like the first week of January, and that's where I am. So anyway, I will leave all the books that I've specifically mentioned or any of the reading challenges that I've mentioned down below in the description, as well as my social media links, so you can keep appraised of how my like bookish resolutions are going. At the end of every monthly wrap up on my blog, I kind of have this little like section where I talk about my personal state of being, I guess, and I also talk about my progress on the challenges I'm doing and all of those kinds of things, and like my mental state as well. So if you're interested in that kind of things, I would definitely check out the blog where I talk about that. And yeah, I hope you had a really great time watching and that you stay safe, and I would always love to know what you have for your bookish 2021 resolutions, because I always feel like you can add resolutions and like take away the ones that aren't working for you depending on how the year goes. For me, I'm not like one of those people where it's like I make these and I have to follow them no matter what. I am always cognizant of the fact that things change, and like if I don't like, for example, one of the backlist books that I'm reading for, you know, a Toni Morrison, Octavia Butler, N.K. Jemisin kind of things, I'm not going to force myself to like continue reading it just so I can finish this challenge. So, you know, keeping things flexible. So I'd love to know what your 2021 reading challenges are, for example, and then I can maybe add them. And also, if you are recommending me a book for my 12 friends recommend me a book, please let me know what that would be. Have a great day, everyone. Bye!